In this video, I'm showing you how to crochet this fingerless glove. Please see the description for the materials and other information. First, start with a slip knot. Then we're going to make chains that about the length from your wrist to your fingers. Make sure to do the chains loosely, or you can increase the hook size by 0.5 mm for the starting chain. Every part of this glove, you can make it to your desired length. What I'm making right now cover from the wrist to the base of the fingers. You can use a ruler to measure the length, and I recommend to go over the measurement a bit because of the curve of the hand. Then make 2 extra chains to start a new row. For the second row, we're going to make half double crochet into the back bumps. Instead of inserting your hook in the middle of the chain, flip the chains over and you can see a bump. Watch the video carefully to see what I mean by the back bump. Then you can make a half double crochet like normal. Continue to do half double crochet into the back bumps. Here I'm at the end of the second row. After the final half double crochet, we're going to chain 2 to start a new row. From now on, we're going to do normal half double crochet, which means we're inserting the hook into the V shape. Continue to do half double crochet for the rest of this row. Every time we start a new row, we crochet 2 chains and then flip the work over and do half double crochet for the entire row. You will continue to repeat the same row pattern until you have made a big rectangle. This rectangle should be big enough to cover your hand. It can be slightly small because the yarn can stretch. Now we're going to join this rectangle to create a thumb hole. Depending on where your hook is at, you may need to flip the work over to join the 2 ends. The hook should be on the front. And then hold the yarn like normal. We're going to slip stitch join the inner loops. With the yarn still attached to the hook, we're going to insert the hook upwards in the inner loop of the other side and make a slip stitch. Then insert the hook downwards in the inner loop of the front panel and then insert it upwards of the other panel and make a slip stitch. Repeat the steps for the next stitches. We're not going to join the thumb hole, so we need to measure so that we leave a part for the thumb. Then also measure when we should resume the joining. To create a thumb hole without cutting the yarn, I'm going to slip stitch along one side of the glove. Remember to make these slip stitches loose, or you can increase the hook size. Then do the slip stitch joining steps again. Make sure you're counting the stitches so we're joining correctly. After that, we're going to cut the yarn, leave a long tail for sewing. Do the sewing on the other end as well to make the lines even. Now this is basically a fingerless glove. I'm going to add a thumb part and also add the white ribbing. To make the thumb part, first make a slip knot outside. With the yarn still attached on the hook, we're going to insert into one stitch at that thumb hole. Holding the yarn like normal, pull the yarn through and make a single crochet. And then chain one to make it a fake half double crochet. We then make half double crochet around the thumb hole. When you finish one round, you don't need to do any slip stitches, just continue to do half double crochet in the round. This is how it looks after 2 rounds. I'm happy with this because I'm going to add a white ribbing as well. So I'm going to do a slip stitch and then cut off the yarn. For the ribbing, I'm using merino yarn to create a different texture. Using the same method to attach the yarn as before, I'm going to do single crochet around this thumb hole. In the top part of the thumb, I'm doing decreases. Do this by insert your hook into the front loop of the next 2 stitches and then do a single crochet. Depending on how much you want to tighten the thumb part, you can do more decreases. Here I'm doing 3 decreases in the top part of the thumb. Then go back to doing single crochet. Then to do another row, I'm going to keep doing single crochet in the round. I want to tighten at the bottom of the thumb as well, so I'm making 1 decrease at the bottom. The number and positioning of the decreases depend on the size and the shape of the thumb, but generally I would say you can do 3 decreases at the top part and either 1 or up to 3 decreases at the bottom of the thumb. To finish, make a slip stitch and then cut off the yarn. Say you want to tighten the thumb hole further, you can use the yarn tail. Do this by sewing the yarn tail along the stitches. When you go in alternating directions as shown in the video, it will close up the circle. When you reach the size you want, you can weave the yarn in and tie it so that it doesn't move. Now I'm going to do the other ribbing, which is the same at the wrist part and the fingers part. Firstly, attach the yarn like how I showed you earlier by making a slip knot and then inserting the hook with the yarn on it and make a single crochet. Then chain 1 to make a fake half double crochet. Then do half double crochet in the round. Insert the hook in the holes. You don't have to be very accurate and you can skip a few holes. Make sure that the stitches are quite spaced apart and not all clumped together. This is because the ribbing doesn't need to be big and it should be hugging your wrist and your fingers. If you want, you can also add elastics to the ribbing part, which I'm not showing in this video. Then continue to work in the round with half double crochet. When you reach the length you want, you can do a slip stitch and then cut the yarn. Make sure to weave in the ends. I made the wrist part and the fingers part slightly different length so that I can recognize which way is the wrist and which way I intend to use for the fingers. Anyway, this is how it looks like after finishing the glove. You can always change the length of the components and the design to make it your own fingerless gloves. I hope you like this tutorial and thank you for watching.